All right, so let's get to the terminal. If you recall from the last video, if you use multipass, that would just be this command, multipass shell foo, and you're in here. Or if you wanted to use Docker, you could just do Docker run -it Ubuntu. Or if you're using UTM, you can open up UTM and push play on your server, and then you open up the terminal like so, and then you have a terminal. Or if you're on WSL, go ahead and open up your WSL and go from there. I'm gonna log into my Linux box. However you decide is up to you, doesn't really matter. Just get inside a Ubuntu box, giggity. So now that you're in Ubuntu, let me show you some commands that'll help you navigate the terminal. Let's start off with pwd, which stands for print working directory, pwd. You push enter, it shows you your current location in the file system. Now let's do ls, which is short for list, and that will show you everything that's in your current location. You can customize the ls command with some options. Do -L for more detailed information. See the file permissions, the owner, the group, the size of the directory or file, the time it was created, and the name of the file or directory. We could do clear, and that just clears everything off your screen. If you do ls-a, this shows you everything. So all the hidden files as well, which are prefixed with a dot. So for example, you see .bashrc, .cache, .config. All these are hidden. So when you do a regular ls, you don't see those. Notice the difference in size from the output. Okay, let's clear that again. Dot means go up one level. So for instance, pwd right here at /home/J-Hyphen. If I wanted to go up a level, I do cd, which stands for change directory, .. And now you see I'm in the home directory. CD is how you navigate around your file system. Also, if you type CD and nothing else, it brings you back to your home directory. So your user home directory. Now I'm back to /home/J-Hyphen. CD is your best friend when navigating the terminal. Let's practice one more with CD. Let's do CD downloads, ls. We can see the files that are in there. We're in /home/J-Hyphen/downloads. Let's go up a level. CD, .. pwd, /home/J-Hyphen. Simple. We can clear the screen. Now, pro tip, use the tab key on the keyboard to autocomplete file names and directories. So for instance, if I do CD and then do DOW, I can hit tab. It's gonna fill in the rest for me. Also, if there's multiple entries, I push CDDO, right? There's multiple options for this. So tab won't autocomplete it. If you hit it a few times though, it'll give you the options. See, there's documents and downloads. If I do C, then it autocompletes for documents. Saves you a bit of time when navigating around the terminal. Now let's create and work with some files and directories. To create a directory, use make directory, mkdir, followed by a name. So we can name it my test. Now if I ls, you'll see my test. Now let's cd to my test. Clear, ls, it's a brand new folder, nothing in there. So what we're gonna do is let's create an empty file. And to create an empty file, we could use touch. So we could do touch, my first file. You don't have to give it a suffix, but let's just do .txt, and that just means it's a text file. If we do ls, we have my first file .text. Let's copy this file. So the format for copy is CP, and then you need the source. So the source would be my first file, and then we need a destination. So where are we gonna put this copy file? We can put it here, but if we put it here, we just need to give it a new name. So what we could do is call it my copy file .text. And now if we ls, we see my copied file.txt and my first file.txt. So say we got these files and we want to move them, right? That brings us to, I'll leave that on the screen, to MV, which stands for move. And this is how MV works. You have the old name, so let's do my first file. And let's say we want to rename that my first file. What we would do is MV my first file, then just give it a new name file.txt. Yeah, I know I'm real creative with these names, right? So we ls new name file.txt. We could also use it to actually move it, right? So we could do mv my copy file.txt, and let's say we want to move it back a directory. So we could just do this ... And now if we ls, it's not there, but if we go up a level, here it is. So we don't need these files, so let's remove them. And rm is how you remove them, how you delete files. Now, unlike what you're probably used to, there isn't a safety mechanism like the trash or the recycle bin when you're using rm. So be very careful. Using rm is permanent and you can't undo it. There's no Control Z or Apple Z. Once deleted, it's deleted. So we're gonna do my copied file, remove ls. You see that is gone. It's no longer there. Let me clear up this screen. And let's say we want to delete a directory, right? So we have, let's see, we have that my test. Let's say we want to delete it. You're probably thinking, okay, just do rm my test, right? No, what you have to do is rm minus r, which is recursive, and then you do my test. Now that folder's gone. Okay, now let's do something that you'll actually see out in the wild. So let's do make directory projects, the cd projects. Let's create a file. No, not a file. Let's create another directory. Call it my websites. Now, this ls, we have the my websites directory, the cd into it. Nothing in here, right? Let's put some garbage in here. Let's touch index.html, and then let's touch styles.css, and then let's make an images directory, like so. And then let's do ls minus, we'll do la. So we see everything we just created, and we're in the my websites directory of projects. This is called a nested. It's nested in there, right? So /home is under root, which is the /. So if I were to just go / like this, that brings you to the root directory, pwd. So it's just /. But let's go back. cd dash. Yeah, that's another pro tip. cd dash brings you back to where you just were. So basically your previous directory. Okay, but anyway, so ls minus L. This file structure is what you'll see in some static websites. They have images where it stores all your assets and stuff like that. You know, you don't need to know about that. It's neither here nor there. But anyway, you see how we quickly created this file structure for this web project. You can also do this. CD 1, 2, 3. That brings us to home. CD brings you to home. PWD. Also, you see this little tilde here. If I was to, let's do CD dash, so we're in root. If I do CD, it brings you back home, right? If I do CD this, it brings you back home. So that's just a little pro tip to help you quickly navigate around. And you did this all without clicking, no mouse clicks, nothing. Straight terminal. Another pro tip, if you use the up arrow key, you can cycle through your previous commands. Helps you save time. And see how I don't want to push enter for whatever reason, and I want to stay at the level I'm at in the file system. I can do Control C. That aborts the command and leaves you at the level you're at. You can also use Control C to abort scripts and other running applications. Say if your terminal's hung trying to do something, you can hit Control C and it'll kill it. Okay, for a quick little challenge now, I'll put it up here. Don't worry, I'll go over this command in the next video. So for a quick challenge, do this. Create a directory, name it practice, and go into it. Then create a file named notes.txt. Then make a copy of it called backupnotes.txt. Go ahead and pause the video and see what you come up with. All right, so let's do this challenge here. So make directory called practice, cd into it, then create a file named notes, then make a copy of notes called backupnotes.txt, and then ls. If this is your result, then you nailed it, and you're one step closer to getting that career in tech. In our next video, we'll learn how to install software using the command line, a skill that will make you feel like a Linux pro in minutes. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it, and drop any questions in the comments. But until next time, I'm out.
Take a trip to the wild side. When HFG present, they scared to come outside. Trying to see you shorty gon' bring a backside.